This is a First Coast News Plus special presentation. Unsolved. Search for the missing. Now, here's First Coast News cold case journalist, Katie Jefferies.
Ernest Brown just doesn't understand what could have happened to his brother. The last time they spoke, his brother Frank said he was about to be released from Baptist Hospital, and then he vanished.
He ain't forgotten now. He ain't forgotten.
Ernest Brown has questioned what happened to his older brother for years.
Same thing, nothing. Now almost 9 years of nothing.
He says he has gone over the day of June 3rd, 2015 in his mind countless times, and it just doesn't make sense to him. His brother Frank Brown suffered from seizures, and an episode landed him in Baptist Hospital downtown. Ernest says after staying a few days at the hospital, Frank called him to say he was being released and needed a pickup.
So me and Mom talked to him again. We was downstairs. He said, hey, I'll be down there in a few minutes. So me and Mom was sitting down there for about a half hour. We're like, Mom, Frank ain't coming down yet. I wonder what's going on. Call back up there. No answer.
He says he waited a while longer, then went up to Frank's room to get him.
I goes up there. They said he gone. So I said he couldn't have been gone because we've been down there waiting on him.
He says they went back to Frank's home and waited, but he never came home. The next day, they reported Frank as missing to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office.
Upon his release, he was discharged and never to be seen again.
LaShante Whitaker is the detective currently working Frank Brown's case. We also spoke with Detective Tanya Porter, now retired from JSO's Missing Persons Unit, but was the original detective when Frank was reported missing. She says the Missing Persons Unit immediately began to try to retrace Frank's steps.
We went to the hospital, went to the stairway that he was seen on a still shot exiting the hospital.
She says it appears he left from a parking garage door alone. Detective Porter says they also called out the K-9 unit to try and get a trace and check the vents and tight areas around the exterior of the hospital.
With being able to go up under there, that's the reason why we had the dog go up under there and check as well, just to see if maybe someone was sleeping there or we would find something there.
But nothing was found. Another red flag for detectives and Brown's family was that Frank would get monthly deposits in his account on the 3rd of every month and would immediately withdraw the money.
My brother liked to get his money. So the 4th, when he got out of the hospital, my brother would have been down there in that car and he'd been ready to go get his money out the bank.
But this time, the money sat untouched.
I mean, we're steady looking for leads, running different things with his bank accounts and things of that nature, and still nothing.
Ernest says the years have been difficult. His mother is desperate for some type of closure about what happened to her son.
She waiting on him. She been waiting on him. She 82. Every morning she always say, well, it's another day. And she always say, Frank. That's all she think about, her son.
Detectives Porter and Whitaker have not given up the hope of closing this case and are open to hearing from anyone who may have seen something suspicious in the area around Baptist Hospital in 2015.
If anything sparked your interest at that time, that was kind of odd, and now that you're listening to the story and you're like, you know what, I did see something that seemed, out of character to me at that time, to contact JSO.
It could help give Frank Brown's family the answers they are waiting for.
Hey, Frank got family. We love him. We love him. We love him.
If you know anything about the disappearance of Frank Brown, contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Katie Jefferies, First Coast News, on your side. Austin Patchky's parents say their lives have not been the same since 2022. Their son was last seen leaving the 7-Eleven where he worked in Jacksonville and then was never seen again. They have searched for him ever since and hope that they will be reunited once again.
It'll be 2 years in November. 2 years in November, and it seems like it happened 6 months ago.
Carl and Elena Patchky hold on to the memories of their son, Austin.
He was really an extraordinary personality.
Yep.
He was.
He taught you a lot of stuff.
Adopted at birth from Mexico, they say Austin was a smart, quiet, and curious child, and quickly grew. Standing at 6'8", he stood out in a crowd, and Elena says he would look out for others at his school.
I said, is this boy being bullied in school? And he says, not when I'm around. Look at me, Mom. So that's the kind of things that he would do.
Now they are desperate to know what happened to their son. They say it all began with a message in November of 2022.
He'd been living with a friend, and a friend told us, listen, I haven't seen Austin in so many days, or whatever, and then we knew something was wrong.
The Patchkys say Austin had been struggling with drugs, and they were trying to get him help. So they called the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office.
And he was last seen walking out of the back side of the building, and nobody has seen or heard from him since.
Detective Paul Clayton with the Missing Persons Unit was assigned to the case. He says Austin was last seen leaving his job at the 7-Eleven on Old St. Augustine Road on November 16th of 2022. He did not have a car and was seen walking and appeared to be alone.
There were no tips received in the area and no other surveillance cameras in the area other than what was on the outside of the 7-Eleven.
From there, Austin Patchky seemingly vanished. People who knew him told detectives he mostly kept to himself, just went to work and came home. No one had been threatening him. Detective Clayton says his next steps were checking Austin's financials.
And there's been no activity in his bank account since his disappearance.
Before the Patchkys moved to Northeast Florida, they lived in New York.
It is possible that he may have moved back to New York and just didn't tell anybody where he was going. So hopefully that's the case, and somebody can see this story and pass along a tip, and Austin is alive and well.
Elena Patchky says she has reached out to Austin's friends in New York, and none have seen him. His parents say Austin was very attached to his dog Spirit, and they can't imagine him leaving Spirit behind. Another thing that has puzzled the Patchkys is that there's reportedly still activity on Austin's Facebook page. Just logins and logouts, but no new posts. Still, detectives and the Patchkys hold on to hope that Austin is still alive and they will see him again.
Austin, we love you so much. Just let us know you're okay. We know you have to find your own way in life, and I know children pass through your life. But we love you no matter what. Mommy misses you, so does Spirit and your sister. And you have a beautiful little nephew. A beautiful little nephew. We just want you to know that you're okay.
If you know anything about the disappearance of Austin Patchky, contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Katie Jefferies, First Coast News, on your side. What happened to Valerie Santian has been a mystery to her family. The mother of 4 disappeared in September of 2020. Her belongings left behind, just seemingly up and vanished. Valerie's mother, though, holds out hope that she will be reunited with her children. People don't simply vanish.
It was a shock, especially to me.
There has to be some explanation.
Because, she just loved being with her children.
But it's been 4 years and no answers for Adriana Bourbon about what happened to her daughter, Valerie.
She was very adventurous. She was always doing something with the children.
It was September of 2020. 36-year-old Valerie Santian and her husband, Jonathan, were at the Life Storage on Deerwood Park Boulevard. They were homeless and kept their belongings in a unit there. Valerie's children were living with her mother, but Adriana says Valerie kept in close contact with them.
She loved her children very much.
According to reports, around 11 p.m. on September 26th of 2020, Jonathan left to get some food, and when he returned, Valerie was gone. She was reported as missing to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office 6 days later.
We haven't been able to get a location, direction of travel, or anything like that since.
Detective Leslie Zinev was assigned the case. She says investigators went out to the storage unit, and unfortunately by that time there was no surveillance. But they saw Valerie's belongings were still there, yet there were no signs of forced entry or violence in the unit.
We believe she just left, whether that to be meet somebody or something happened or whatever the case may be. We don't know.
without a financial history to trace. Detective Zenev says that they focused on asking around in the homeless community.
So a lot of our investigation was just getting her picture right there. All the transients that were in the area, shelters, we checked the hospitals.
She says some people did report seeing Valerie, but they weren't sure if it was after September 26th or not, so nothing helpful to create a timeline. Adriana says Valerie was having a hard time back then and may have felt hopeless.
I'm just concerned that someone may have maybe talked her into leaving or something like that. Whatever is going on, why didn't she come back home? Why didn't she call one of us?
She wants her to know she is deeply missed and loved by her children.
Her kids love her so much. Whenever they see a picture or, anything like that, they see a picture, they start asking questions. So it's hard. It's been hard.
So where is Valerie Santian? Right now, that's still a mystery. But Detective Zenev says if someone recognizes Valerie's photo or has seen her since September of 2020, they want to hear from you.
We believe that she could be still out there living, being homeless, and in a circle of people that, just don't know that she's missing.
If you know anything about the disappearance of Valerie Santian, contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Katie Jefferies, First Coast News, on your side. Detectives have a specific ask in the case of Ricky Caldwell. They want to know more about the people he was with the night he disappeared. They have a vague description of the people and the car, but they want more.
So I really don't know what happened to my grandson, but I do know that something happened to him.
It has been more than 11 years since Nancy Caldwell has seen her great-grandson, Ricky.
But we know something did happen to him because he would not stay away from his children and his babies.
Ricky was the father of 3 girls and had a baby boy on the way. She says Ricky had been staying at a home with friends on Broadway Avenue when suddenly his contact with his family and children stopped.
But I know that something wasn't right.
She says she went to the home on Broadway Avenue to find Ricky, but instead found the house empty.
Fence was open, the house was open, wasn't a lamp, wasn't nothing in the house, completely empty. And nobody's seen him since that day.
Nancy reported Ricky Caldwell as missing to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Detective Tanya Porter, now retired, worked the case in 2013. Detective Barakiel Hamilton is the current investigator on the case. They say the investigation shows Ricky was last seen alive at the home on Broadway Avenue on August 31st of 2013. They say there had been a group of around 7 people at the house that night.
And Ricky ended up leaving the house later that night with 2 unknown black males and a female in a green Lumina vehicle, and haven't been seen since.
Before he left, though, he had been in an argument.
It was verbal. It was over money.
And the people who were in the argument, were those the people he left with or different?
No, they were different.
Who those 2 men and woman were in the green sedan, believed to be Illumina, remains unknown.
In my heart, whatever happened to him, they killed him.
Detectives say the friend Ricky was staying with did speak with detectives, but couldn't identify the people Ricky left with. Now detectives are hoping those with information about who Ricky Caldwell left with that night will come forward.
You have family members that want answers that we can't give them because we don't have any answers. So anything that can come in to shed light into what happened will be helpful, just to give that closure to the family.
Even small information could help move this case forward.
Anything that we can follow up on, we would and we will.
And help Nancy Caldwell, as well as Ricky's children, get answers about what happened to him more than a decade ago. If you know anything about the disappearance of Ricky Caldwell, contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Katie Jefferies, First Coast News, on your side. Jana Wiley's family has never stopped searching for her. She went missing in June of 2020 and would be 35 years old today. Her father is pleading for her return or answers about where she could be.
It's just weird. How could you just disappear? Nobody saw nothing.
George Wiley says he will never stop looking for his daughter, Jana.
Every day is a struggle, you know what I mean? I just want her back home.
The youngest of 11 siblings, Jana was the baby of the family, described as friendly, creative, and a people person. But George says some of those friends weren't the best influences.
But like I said, she got caught up out in the world.
She was last seen alive on June 29th of 2020, celebrating her sister's birthday.
Never had a clue that it would be the last time I would have saw her.
George says he spoke to her on the phone the next day, and she said she was over on Wright Avenue, just off of St. Augustine Road. But she called him from a number he didn't recognize.
The phone she was using, when she got ready to get off the phone, she said, well, I got to get off the phone because the lady want her phone. And the lady asked her about her phone. I guess she said, yes, ma'am. That's why I knew it had to be an older lady that she respect like that. And that's the last time I heard from her.
After a week of not hearing from Jana, George Wiley reported his daughter as missing to the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. Detective Janetta Buxton began working the case. She says they began searching the areas Jana was known to frequent, like Moncrief and Myrtle Avenues.
We flooded the area. Myself, patrol, along with the missing person unit. We used all of our resources. We spared none, such as the K-9, the air unit, recruits. We even brought out the command bus on numerous occasions.
They also spoke with those who knew Jana Wiley.
I did not hear any negativity about her. I did not hear that someone was looking for her in a criminal manner. I did not hear that she had an altercation with anyone. Again, that's what made this case so hard.
It remains unknown whose phone Jana used to call her father from for the last time. But George says he is certain, no matter where she is, she would have called if she was okay.
If she was able to communicate, use anybody's phone, she would have called me or her mom. So.
Sadly, Jana's mother passed away last year, but George Wiley and other members of Jana's family will continue to press for answers. Detective Buxton says someone out there knows where Jana is, and it's time they step up and help.
You know, you have to get beyond yourself. No matter what a person does, you do not have a right, to cause harm to anyone or withhold information that can assist with bringing that person home. It's time for her to come home. It's time for us to bring closure to the family. Let's bring Jana home.
If you know anything about the disappearance of Jana Wiley, contact the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Katie Jefferies, First Coast News, on your side.
This has been a First Coast News Plus special presentation. Unsolved. Search for the missing. Stream your first choice for local news every day on First Coast News Plus. First Coast News, on your side.